all our viewers of PhysioTV. Myself, Dr. Shivani. I'm an assistant professor at Sancheti Institute of Orthopaedics and Rehabilitation College of Physiotherapy in Community Department. So our topic for today is anatomical and physiological changes associated with pregnancy. So today we'll be looking at various factors which contribute and which are very much necessary for the women to undergo the change of pregnancy. So the most important aspects we'll be looking at is with respect to uterine changes, with respect to breast changes, with respect to respiratory system, cardiovascular system, and renal system. So coming to musculoskeletal system adaptation, which is extremely significant from a physiotherapy or a physiotherapist point of view. So pregnancy brings about a lot of significant changes with respect to the musculoskeletal system, preparing the body, preparing for the childbirth process. So ligament laxity is one of the most important factor, which is caused by hormone relaxin, which increases the flexibility of the joints and the ligaments, particularly at the pelvic region, to facilitate the passage of during the childbirth. So this again ultimately leads to increased amount of mobility. So pelvic bone changes, increased laxity in ligament at the pelvic region and joints allows the mobility, causing some amount of instability as well as pain. So coming to increased postural shifts or increased amount of lordosis because of the growing uterus, because there is a shift of gravity which is completely forwards as well as upwards. To compensate for this, the body basically exaggerates the lumbar lordosis, because of which ultimately there is some amount of strain at the muscles of the at the lumbar region. This ultimately leads to some amount of changes with respect to gait. There is a wider stance. Also, the female lands up into a gait known as a waddling type of gait to maintain the balance. Coming to the pain syndromes, a combination of ligamentous laxity, increased lordosis, and mechanical stress often results in low back pain and pelvic girdle pain, and ultimately leading to pain syndromes. This can be particularly seen in the last period of your second trimester and your third trimester, since the growing fetus and the shift of COG is more towards this particular part. So there is something known as carpal tunnel syndrome, which is frequently seen in patients. So the generalized fluid basically gets retained, because of which there is good amount of compression of your median nerve at the wrist joint, causing numbness and tingling pain in your hands and your fingers. So all of these adaptations are basically important and crucial for childbirth, but definitely a clinical management should be focused on the pain parts. Coming to the second uh, system or the part that is uterus, the anatomical changes in uterus during pregnancy involves more amount of increase in the size, the weight, as well as contractions. So the size basically grows from 7.5 to at least 35 centimeters by term. The weight usually increases from 60 grams to 1000 grams. There is a good amount of increase in capacity from 10 ml to 5 liters. And there is something known as Braxton Hicks, which means there is an irregular, painless contraction, which usually begins in the second trimester. We also call it as false labor. There is good amount of increase in blood supply. The arterial blood supply to the uterus increases. There is hypertrophy and hyperplasia of your myometrium cells at the muscular level. So thus we can see how in the diagram also we can see how there is increased amount of size of uterus during the trimesters. So coming to breast tissue changes. So breast changes during pregnancy basically involves mostly because of your lactation, preparation, and hormonal influence. So the breast changes in pregnancy involves enlargement due to the hormone estrogen as well as progesterone. There is darkening at the areola region. The nipple changes are seen. The colostrum, because of we need the child basically needs the milk, and the female needs to produce a good amount of colostrum. So secretion may begin as early as 16 weeks. There is good amount of blood supply, which is increased. The vascular supply increases. The proliferation of the areolar and the ductal structures are again considered, as well as there is hormonal drives, which can be prolactin, HPL, estrogen and progesterone. This part we'll cover at your endocrine system changes. Then coming to cardiovascular system. So your cardiovascular changes includes increase in blood volume, which is usually around 40 to 50%. As there is plasma volume rises, the blood cell mass, which slightly decreases. So it causes a physiological dilution. We also call it as physiological anemia, which is seen in pregnancy. Then coming to cardiac output, the cardiac output basically rises. The rises because of increase in the stroke volume and heart rate. It lies between somewhere around 10 to 15 BPM, that is beats per minute. And your CVR, that is your systemic vascular resistance, basically falls down due to effect of progesterone mediated vasodilation. So this vasodilation decreases your systemic vascular resistance. The blood pressure typically decreases in the first and the second trimester. Then it basically returns back to its normal baseline level at the third trimester. The heart is considered to be slightly pushed upwards and to the left by an enlarged uterus. So this is again the accommodation which your cardiovascular system does to accommodate the fetus and via your increased amount of uterus. So your atrial compression in supine position can reduce venous return, which is clinically considered to be extremely relevant during the process of during pregnancy, basically. Coming to the respiratory system changes, there are physiological adaptation in the form of increase in tidal volume, which is usually of 40%, which is again driven by your progesterone, increased air inhaled, and your exhalation per breath. Then your 20% of your oxygen consumption again has increased due to the metabolic demands of the mother as well as the fetus. And your diaphragm elevation is approximately 14 centimeters 4 centimeters, again to accommodate the pushing of your uterus. And your FRC, that is your functional residual capacity, decreases as the lungs are now compromised or are now compressed. So to accommodate the fetus, to accommodate the uterus, the FRC basically reduces because now the space between the lungs has been reduced. So this increase in tidal volume leads to a significant rise in minute ventilation, often resulting into mild respiratory alkalosis. Thus, during pregnancy, we call it as the state to be in mild respiratory alkalosis. The shift transfer facilitates the transfer of carbon dioxide from the fetus to the mother. Dyspnea or shortness of breath is a common complaint in third trimester because of these reasons. So this can be attributed to the increased or the elevated diaphragm and the oxygen demand, which are usually more. So again, coming to the renal system. So renal system, the changes have basically now been increased by at least 40 to 60% by the first trimester. The renal plasma flow again increases by 75%, which is above your non-pregnant levels. So the kidney size again increases due to the vascular engorgement. And there is something known as glycosuria, which may occur even when the normal blood glucose due to increased GFR. There is increased amount of urinary frequency, especially in your first and your third trimester because of the pressure of the uterus. And there is something known as hydronephrosis, that is physiological dilation of the uterus, which is more pronounced on the right. Then coming to the renal system adaptation. So the renal system basically undergoes significant changes during pregnancy to support the maternal as well as the fetal metabolic demands. So the increased GFR is basically by 40 to 60% by the end of first trimester, enhancing more amount of excretion of the waste. Your elevated renal plasma flow increases by approximately 75% than the non-pregnant state. There is good amount of kidney enlargement. There is glucosuria, as we discussed, and the frequency, which is common, increase in frequency of urination is commonly seen at the end of the first trimester due to hormonal changes and increased blood volume, and in the third trimester also due to the pressure on the bladder by the uterus. So these adaptations are crucial for managing the increased metabolic load and waste products of pregnancy, but also predispose pregnant individuals to urinary tract infections due to urinary stasis for ureteral dilation. So this is again something which is clinically extremely important, and every physiotherapist needs to take care of these UTIs. So coming to our GI system adaptation. So your gastric function basically is considered at a ANC period because of an important hormone, that is progesterone. It causes good amount of decrease in the motility and delaying the emptying, which causes increase in acidity or acid exposure. The reflex is again increased. There is intragastric pressure and lowered of esophageal sphincter contributing to GERD, which is very commonly seen during pregnancy. Nausea, vomiting are the common and particular seen in first trimester. Coming to from an Indian background, usually nausea and vomiting are considered to be the first signs if the woman is pregnant. So it is because of the hormone progesterone. So coming to bowel functions, the progesterone-induced smooth muscle relaxation and iron supplementation often leads to constipation, and most pregnant women do experience increased appetite, both because of both reasons, because of increased levels of caloric demands of the fetus as well as the female. So these changes often are uncomfortable and are generally they begin and for vital, and they are very important for the maternal as well as the fetal well-being, and require careful monitoring to differentiate from the pathological conditions also. So coming to endocrine system adaptation, pregnancy triggers a symphony of hormonal changes crucial for supporting fetal growth and preparing the mother's body for childbirth. So thyroid function, so normal levels of your THBG, that is your thyroid hormone binding globulin, are already elevated because the pregnancy basically causes it to increase, but it always has to be monitored from a regular pathological change to a physiological change. The glucose metabolism, the progressive insulin resistance develops, particularly in the third trimester, which is again driven by hormones like human placental lactogen, that is HPL. This increases the risk of GDM, which is considered to be a complication during pregnancy. Monitoring the universal GDM screening at 24 to 38 weeks. Calcium regulation is again considered to be extremely important, as well as prolactin source. The prolactin levels increase dramatically throughout the pregnancy, playing a very important role in the mammary gland development and preparation of the body for milk production. So postpartum period, it contributes to lactation and offers and often suppresses your ovulation process. So with this, we have completed the first part of